My name is Jaden. I'm a spiritual creator and entrepreneur, and on this channel, I help my fellow spiritual creators and entrepreneurs like yourself with unblocking their unlimited creativity, leveling up their productivity, and finding infinite fulfillment from creating. Whether that's creating art, creating content, or creating value. As entrepreneurs, we're value creators. This channel is for you if you're a spiritual creator, all right? Now, I do all three of those things. I'm an artist, I make vlogs, I love to draw and write as well. I am a content creator. As you see, I'm making this video right now, and I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a coach, and I help people unblocking their unlimited creativity, leveling up their productivity, and finding that infinite fulfillment from creating. So why can I talk about tapping into your productivity, 10xing your productivity? Well, the thing is, I uploaded daily YouTube videos for 101 days straight, and that was over 101 videos. You know, for a week or two, I uploaded 2 videos a day. Some days I would drop vlogs and talking head videos. Sometimes I'd drop a podcast and a talking head video. I uploaded at least 120 videos over the course of my 101 days uploading straight from May 15th to August 24th. And that was only because I was having fun while doing it. I loved the process of making daily videos. I had so much fun doing it, and I still have fun doing it. I took a break, you know, the last week of August, but for the month of September, I'm back to it. And I might not be dropping a daily talking head video every day. I'm actually going to be focusing more on getting vlogs out. If you want to check out yesterday's video, it was a vlog, but I'm really back on it when it comes to daily creation, and that's what I'm about. And the only reason I'm able to tap into this is because I love what I'm doing every day, okay? And so if you want to 10x your productivity, if you want to be able to create consistently and have fulfillment from that creating, keep watching this video. So I like to say that creation, the art of creation, the ability to turn something from an idea and actualize it, it takes 2 steps: ideation and actualization, creativity and productivity. And so your productivity is merely an extension of your creativity, because if there's no ideas, what is there to actualize, right? And so not only is creativity important, not only is productivity important and the ability to actualize ideas, but if you don't actually have ideas coming in, if your creativity is blocked, then how are you going to actually have things to actualize? And so unblocking your creativity is very, very important. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about unblocking your creativity in this video. I have many videos on my channel talking about unblocking your creativity. I actually have a 40-minute lecture on my channel called Your Creativity is Blocked. Here's how to unblock it. So if you're interested in that, I highly recommend checking that out. But I'll be talking more about unblocking your creativity in other videos coming up soon. In this video, I more so want to talk about productivity. But let's talk a little bit about unblocking your creativity real quick. I like to say that blocks on your creativity are attacks at your authenticity. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, the thing is, creating anything is merely an expression of the self. And so if the self, you, doesn't feel comfortable expressing, then how can you consistently create things? How can you make something that's an expression, an extension of you, if you feel like you're not good enough, if you're not comfortable being vulnerable, if you feel like you can't be authentic? If you have artist abuse, which is a term by an artist called Julia Cameron. She's an excellent writer who's taught me a lot and helped me unblock my creativity with her book, The Artist's Way. But if you're not tapped in, if you have these blocks, aka artist abuse, where, you know, maybe your parents told you, oh, art is stupid, this is silly, or the school system told you that business can't be business can't be done, right? You need to have a job to be, you know, to be safe or to actually make money or whatever. If you have these beliefs in your brain that you can't do business, that your art is stupid, or even that you're not good enough, right? These things will get in the way of you. I actually faced this a lot, and I only really realized how deep this was for me. Now, I believe that I did a lot of the work with unblocking my unlimited creativity within that first week of me starting my daily upload stint from May 15th. About 3 to 4 days in, I'd realized that if I didn't get over the block that I had, which was manifested in my relationship with my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, who I spent a lot of time with growing up, I realized that if I didn't get over that block, I wouldn't be able to create consistently. Now, I tried to a lot of times. In December, I uploaded daily videos from December 7th to January 2nd or 3rd. I had another weekly stint. I had another stint for a week towards the end of January. I had another stint of uploading daily for a week in April. And every time it was just like this. It was just like this. Because I still had blocks in here that didn't allow me to feel comfortable creating consistently. And so I knew that the only way I'd be able to do this was by getting over that hump. And the biggest thing for me was feeling like I couldn't be myself, feeling like I couldn't express, because growing up, like, you know, young, 5, 6 years old, whenever I tried to, you know, express my emotions, especially, you know, in negative times like sadness or anger, you know, I'd be met with invalidation, you know, not feeling not getting comforted, you know, if I was crying, you know, suck it up, or boys don't cry, or, you know, be a big boy, you know, things like this, you know, bullshit programming that we've been told. And this just like programmed my brain into like, oh, okay, so when I feel bad, when I feel sad or have negative thoughts, I can't go to anybody because no one's gonna help me anyway. And that kept me in a box. I put my walls up, and those walls were blocking my creativity. Yeah, things weren't coming in, so the negative wasn't coming in, but I couldn't also let the things out, right? And so because I couldn't let things out, how could I create consistently if my outwards expression wasn't able to be there consistently? I had walls up. And so I really got over this a lot by talking to my grandmother about it, by forgiving her, by expressing these things to her. But I realized last week, actually, that I still had some conditioning and some self-worth issues that I had to go through and deal with. And I've dealt with them now. I'm on the other side of them now. But I realized that I was really conditioned to attach my worth to my outcomes. And this is actually a really good segue into the first point. Growing up, I was a huge math and science nerd. I still am. You want to look at my book bag? I actually like designed this book bag with my dad, but like this is like an atom. It's an atom because I'm a nerd. I love science. I love math and science. Love them. And because I love math and science, because I always had fun with math and science, I always did super well in those classes. Now let me tell you, I was never really one for homework growing up, not gonna lie. If I could do homework in class, I did homework in class. But doing homework at home, what are we talking about? Am I right? So I because of that, you know, I didn't really get all A's in school because I didn't do homework. I did excellent on every single test. I didn't get like my first C on a test until like 7th or 8th grade. I didn't like fail a test until like 9th grade. Yeah, 9th grade. That was the first time I failed a test, like 3rd or 4th quarter of 9th grade. I'm not gonna lie, 4th quarter of 9th grade, I was depressed as fuck, so I didn't care. Like the first 3 quarters I killed it, I was like, I don't give a fuck. I could just fuck around for the rest of the school year and I'll be good. And so I always loved math and science, and because of that, I always had A's in those classes. And in my other classes, I usually slacked B's, and I got my first C in high school, but I always had A's and B's in middle school, right? And whenever I would come home, I didn't start having letter grades until 5th grade. Whenever I would come home with a report card, my grandmother, she'd be like, oh, that's amazing, Jay, you know, A's and B's, you know, we'd love to give you some money, give you this gift, buy you this game, but you could do better, right? You could get all A's, right? And it just, every single year, every single time I brought a report card home, oh, that's great, Jay, you know, this is awesome, love, I guess, but it's like, you could be better. And it was just always programming, always conditioning to me, like, to believe that everything that I was doing, I was creating in the world, it was like, it just wasn't good enough. And because of that, I got that programmed into my brain. And so I didn't, like, I've never really been one who could, like, do my best on something that I didn't care about, I didn't align with. And English and history and like these other subjects, those weren't things I really cared about or aligned with. When it came to math, science, art, I love those things, and so I was always in on those things. But the other things is like, don't really give a fuck. And because of that, I didn't perform as well, because I wasn't as productive in those classes because I didn't care. And so this is really the first point. This is really the main point of my purposeful productivity philosophy. This is what this video is really about, purposeful productivity. That's my philosophy, that you will work harder, you will work more, and you will produce better work because you love what you're doing, you enjoy it, and it's actually impacting people you want to impact. I have 3 F's for purposeful productivity. Fun, having fun, actually enjoying what you're doing. Fulfillment, you actually feel good about what you're doing. It brings you peace, it brings you joy, it brings you happiness. And flow state, you actually get into the zone while you're doing it. Like, I'm super in flow state while I'm recording videos, while I'm writing, while I'm editing my vlogs. I'm always like, I'm super in flow state during these things. And so I put my time into these things because they're things I love and they're things I can be present with, super present with. If you're doing things that you can't be super present with, why would you do those things? Working, the game of business, making progress, improving yourself, whatever it is, whatever you're trying to build or trying to develop, these things are hard enough. Growth is challenging. It's not easy. And so why would you make growth harder by doing things that are misaligned, doing things you don't want to do, right? I like to say the game of business is hard enough. Why make it harder by being in a business model that you could give less than a fuck about? It doesn't make any sense to me. And so I only believe in purposeful productivity and purposeful entrepreneurship, because I believe that if you have something that you genuinely want to work for, something that you actually want to add value to in the world, like I do when it comes to creativity, productivity, spirituality, entrepreneurship, when it comes to these things, these are things that I just genuinely love. Like, my heart is so full by these things, and so I just want to give from my overflow. And because I have that, it actually allows me to give super consistently. But if it was like something like English, I don't give a fuck about English, right? And there are certain people who love English and could be like in books all day and like love to write like literary things and love to study and like all that kind of thing. You know, if English is your thing, that's fucking awesome, bro. I'm never gonna knock anyone for having your thing. The thing is, I'm always gonna knock you for not being aligned with your thing. Because why would you do that? Talking about Julia Cameron earlier, The Artist's Way, I was actually on that very swing right there when I realized this. I was listening to the Artist's Way audiobook, and Julia Cameron basically talked about, if you're not doing the things you love to do as a child, then you're not gonna have, like, you're most likely not tapped into that energy, that fulfillment that you have. Thing is, as kids, we're super present, we're super in oneness, and we're super like just in the world. Here's the thing, actually. When it comes to like the brain waves of children, up until age 7, children are basically always tapped into like oneness consciousness. Real ego doesn't start developing until around age 8. And this is very aligned for me, because around age 8, that's actually when I started making my YouTube videos. I'm 20 at the moment, and 12 years ago on February 24th, 2012, I uploaded my first YouTube video. It was like my first 5 actually, with my best friend Samir, my childhood best friend. We were like in my living room making videos on my laptop webcam, my grandfather's laptop's webcam rather. But I just knew that I love YouTube. And 3 weeks later, I make a video called How to Make a Samurai Morpher, in parentheses, paper, right? Because I just love making shit out of paper. And I was in love with Power Rangers. And you know what? Video pops the fuck off. 15K views. And from there, my ego started developing. I started attaching my worth to my view count. And after a year or two, like trying to make YouTube videos, I was just like, oh, I'm just not good enough. I can't hit like this view count again. I'll never be able to do this. Like, why even do it? Why even try? And I started losing the love I had just for creating because I was so attached to these outcomes. That's ego consciousness. Ego believes that attaching to outcomes will bring you happiness, when in actuality, the doing itself, the creating itself, the process is what brings happiness, right? Me being in flow state right now is what brings me fulfillment. Me giving value right now is what brings me fulfillment. Me helping people is what gives me fulfillment. Not the likes, not the subs. Money is cool, and money allows me to unlock more things and to level up. But at the end of the day, the creating is what I'm really about. The doing is what really brings me the joy, the happiness, the fulfillment, the fun, the flow state, right? And so if you want more productivity, you want to do something that's fun, fulfilling, and flow state inducing, because you'll actually want to do it. You're always going to put more energy, more power, more intention, more will into something you want to do instead of something you don't want to do. That's literally just how people work. And so why not use that to your advantage? The thing is, if you just align your work, your art, your business, anything you're trying to do productively, if you align these things to what you actually want to do, that will be your competitive advantage. I love spirituality. I want to help people be more spiritual. I want to help people tap more into God, be more in oneness consciousness. I love the games of YouTube and business. I see YouTube and business as the ultimate vehicles of fun, fulfillment, and freedom, right? Very similar to my 3S of purposeful productivity, but instead of flow state, it's freedom. Because these things do bring freedom internally and externally, right? Internal freedom through fulfillment, through love, through loving what you're doing, and external freedom by manifesting wealth and by using that money to create opportunities and to bring freedom to yourself. And so if you want to make more progress, if you want to be way more productive, work on something you actually want to work on. It's actually pretty simple. Right? And so like, I used to be a hardcore gamer, super hardcore gamer. And I would have games I hyper obsessed with. But I've always been like a shooter game kind of guy. I've always been into like strategy and shooter games more so. Call of Duty, Overwatch, Rainbow Six Siege, Valorant. And I also got into this game called Marvel Snap, which isn't a shooter game. It's like a card game, but like a virtual card game. But it's hardcore on strategy. Strategy has always been my thing. And that's why I stopped playing video games so I could just go all in on the game of business. Business is all about strategy, right? And I love the game of business. And so I decided that I'm gonna stop putting my energy towards video games and I'm just gonna go all in on business, right? Because as much as video games are fun and, you know, they allow me to like get into that flow state, video games don't bring fulfillment. You know what I mean? It's like video games aren't helping me actualize my purpose. Video games aren't helping me serve people. Video games aren't helping me bring more love to my life. Pleasure, sure. But fulfillment and love? Nah. Business is doing that. And so I said, fuck video games. Let's just play the game of business. Let's play the game of YouTube. Let's just keep leveling up in the game of life. And so that's what I do, right? And so if you want to be more productive, play the games that you want to play. Stop playing other people's games. You're probably playing someone else's game right now. One of my favorite entrepreneurs named Dan Coe, he says, everyone is in alignment with a goal. It's either your goal or the goal someone else put on you. But everyone is working towards something. So ask yourself, are you working towards a goal that you have? Are you working on your programming? Are you actualizing your vision? Or are you working on someone else's goal? Are you playing a part in someone else's story? Are you actualizing someone else's vision? Honestly, if you don't have intention, if you're not conscious about these things, you're probably not in alignment with your goals, with your story, with your vision, with your purpose. And because you're not tapped into that, how could you use that purpose to be more productive? You can't. And so the first step truly is finding out what you love, what you enjoy, what actually brings you fulfillment, and aligning with that. Now, if you're interested in learning more about this, I'd love to invite you to come work one-to-one with me. Just hop on a consult with me. It's the first link in the description. That's my creativity coaching, where I help you unblock your unlimited creativity, 10x your productivity, and find that infinite fulfillment from creating. If that's something you're interested in, I'd love to help you. I'd love to help you identify what your thing is and how to actualize that so you can 10x your productivity, so you can build the life that you want to live, so you can use YouTube and business for your vehicles of fulfillment. And maybe you're not into YouTube or business. Maybe you're just an artist. That's cool. You know, my first client, Violet, she's just an artist. She isn't really into content or business. She just loves making music. And that's what I help her do. And so if you're interested in working with me, if you want to level up, I'd love to help you level up. All right, you can also check out my Purposeful Productivity course. If you go in the description, you can see like my community, my free communities in there as well. I'd love to invite you to that. Come join up in there. I host Sunday masterminds with my wife and I. We do that every single Sunday. But if you're interested in buying my Purposeful Productivity course, 21 videos, 6 hours of content, that's also in my link tree. But if you work with me one-to-one, you get that course, $888 of value, completely for free as a bonus for working one-to-one with me, all right? Do it today, be better for it tomorrow. I'll catch you on next vid. Thumbs out.